What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about a new Netflix release. The dreaded Netflix movie. I thought you said you were never going to talk about those again on this channel. No, I said I was going to stop talking about Netflix action movies on this channel. But when Netflix comes around and does something like this, I'm going to talk about it. This is actually really good. I'm going to be talking about Orion and the Dark. Orion and the Dark is an animated movie that just came out on Netflix and features the voice talents of Paul Walter Hauser and Jacob Tremblay. A boy with an active imagination faces his fears on an unforgettable journey through the night with his new friend, a giant smiling creature named Dark. Finally, 2024, finally, a movie that's fucking great. And it came from Netflix. I am in just as much shock as you guys. Orion in the Dark is a fantastic movie. I have one issue with this movie, and I'll get into it in a little bit, but I thought that this was phenomenal. I thought that this movie was a movie that really, really will speak to a lot of people. It has a lot of great messaging behind it. It's a very ambitious animated movie. There are certain things, the way the narrative plays out, that I didn't expect to happen at all. Or if I expected it, I only expected it to happen towards the end of the movie or for the final scene of the movie. And quite frankly, the moment something like that happens, I was immediately taken aback. I was like, "Oh shit. Whoa. Okay." So it's got surprises like that I think really work, and certain reveals and payoffs about the characters that feel earned. Say about 95% of this is a very tight and concise screenplay. The character of Orion is very relatable. I think almost all of us, myself included, have all the fears that he is afraid of. He's got a lot of social anxiety and he's thinking about other things. Even the littlest things like killer clowns falling off of a skyscraper, just things that briefly cross your mind, but you don't think about too much. But then watching this movie, I was like, yeah, you know what? I've thought about that multiple times in my life. And what, like, with the amounts of anxiety I have, and you guys don't really know this, but I have tons of anxiety. I have a lot of social anxiety. I'm not a very social person because I feel like Orion sometimes. I feel like some of the stuff that comes out of my mouth, I just feel like is either weird, awkward, or dumb. Or it's like, why am I even saying that? There's instances where he's afraid to raise his hand in class because even though he knows the answer, he's afraid he's going to say the name or the place wrong and he's going to get laughed at. I had that exact same feeling. So what I love about this movie is the messaging it has for kids. Adults can even relate to this movie, is that you have to face your fears. You have to figure out a way to conquer your fears. Maybe it's this vast imagination that you come up with in your mind, but you have fears, you tackle them, you conquer them, and you embrace those fears. That's what this entire movie is about, and it does a very, very good job of painting that picture and showing how somebody can overcome fears. The animation is great too. I mean, this is picture perfect animation. Animation has come such a long way. I'm not going to say it looks photorealistic. I don't think it's as good as something like Toy Story, but DreamWorks always puts in the extra time and the extra effort to give themselves a visual artistic flair that makes their animated movies stand out, and this one really stood out to me with some flourishes of 2D animation in there as well. It's a very beautiful film to look at. It's a very mesmerizing film to get wrapped up into, and I think a lot of that also has to do with the musical score that's really capturing the emotions and the fears of our main character, Orion. It just has this warm, inviting score to it. It's like getting into a cozy bed and immediately falling asleep. It knows the exact tone, it knows the exact motions that it has to hit. My issue with the movie relies in the last like 5 minutes or so. It just felt like it came out of nowhere. It feels like the movie is wrapped up and there's maybe like another scene or two, and then all of a sudden something happens, and I get why it happens, because essentially what this movie is that it's a generational movie. There's a story, the main overarching story, the narrative, being told through generations from the characters. There's one certain thing where I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? Like, where did this come from? And I mean, there's an explanation for it. and it makes sense for the explanation, but it just felt like everything was wrapped up in a tight little bow, and then somebody just came around and just sort of pulled that bow so it wasn't so tight anymore. It's just one minor structure issue that I had with the screenplay and the movie itself, but I can't commend this movie enough. This is by far the best movie I've seen so far. I mean, I get it's only February, but Jesus, at this point in time for the past couple years, I mean, there were some January movies the past couple, 2 or 3 years where I've already given more than a 3-star rating on my letterbox. This is way higher than that. Finally, will 2024 finally deliver something? I don't think it's going to be a big year for blockbusters. I think it's going to be a big year for smaller movies that fly under people's radar, like Orion and the Dark. And I loved Orion in the Dark with a full bucket of popcorn. Do I wish another studio picked it up? Yes. But when Netflix is making movies like this, when they're producing movies like this, I'm all for it. If they're this good, I will support Netflix if they do something original like this. The action movies, no, I can't do that. As much as I love supporting filmmakers, it's too algorithmic that way. This feels more like something that came about from care, devotion, and had a lot of heart and soul put into it. So let me know what you think of it in the comment section below. I'll leave my link to my website in the description below as well. You guys are the best. Thank you for watching. My name is Alex Madden, and I will see you at the movies somewhere.